All right, so something pretty new today, but still on quadratics. Quadratic formula, woo. Not new as in maybe you've seen it in Algebra 1 or 2 or both classes, but it's a big thing, and I thought a lot of fanfare and fury, I think it's fanfare and fury, flippery, I don't know, would be in order. So what is going on here? It says us to use the quadratic formula to solve. Express your answer in simplest form. So quadratic formula on that quadratic equation on the bottom. I will show you what the quadratic formula is. It's a big whole thing. But usually if you have a quadratic, you set it equal to 0. And notice, there's also an x. You see what I mean? So what I'm trying to say is, set it equal to 0 is what I'm saying. And let me, whatchamacalls it, using the quadratic formula. So with this equation, let me add the 6. Let me move the 6 over there. That involves adding. So if we add 6x squared on both sides, we'll get 5x squared minus 18x minus 8 equals 0. Okay, I like that. Yeah, exactly. I like this. And if we want to factor, we could for sure. So again, we're trying to find what x equals. What's the solution to x? What is this x? Is it 2? Is it 5? Is it 2 at negative 5? You know what I mean? And that's what factoring does. But factoring doesn't always work. Some quadratic equations are unfactorable. Like you can't find the two numbers that fit and blah, blah, blah. You know? So the quadratic formula always works. Always works. And honestly, this could be factorable. This could be factorable. But we're not going to do it that way. So let's use the quadratic formula, but let me show you what it is. Yeah. All right, so that formula over here, and actually use it. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So b in this problem is negative 18. So negative 18 would be positive 18 plus or minus, very important, the square root. B squared, well, what's b is negative 8. So what is negative 8 times negative 8? I'll use a calculator here, honestly. Yes, 324. All right, then 4 times a times c. What is a? This 5. What is c? This negative 8. So I'm going to put that in the calculator, really, so I don't have to write all that. 4 times 5 times negative 8. What the heck is this? Oh, Jordan. Oh, Garcia. Okay. Okay, so I did 4 times a times c, and I got negative 160, okay? So minus negative 160 all over 2a. Well, a is 5, so 2 times 5 is 10. All right, so we're getting closer, or I mean, once we calculate that, we have our two answers for the solution for x. You dig? All right, so let's keep going. Let's do that inside the radical. 324 minus negative 160. Well, that's 324 plus 160. So I got 484 inside. Now what else? What else can we do? That 484, let's square root it. I hope it's a perfect square. I really don't know. Let me use the calculator. 22. How about that? 18 plus or minus square. No. Square root of 484 is 22. Yes. So this is what we got so far. 18 plus or minus 22 over 10. And now there's nothing else to do but plus 22, as well as another, you know, there's two numbers going on here. Exactly, you know. So we got one that's 18 plus 22 over 10. And there's another one that's 18 minus 22 over 10. So there's two answers. 18 plus 22 is 40. 40 divided by 10 is 4. 18 minus 22 is negative 4. So So negative 4 over 10. Let's just do a decimal, honestly. Negative 0.4. No. It won't take decimals, I don't think. We got to make it into a fraction. It's a negative. So these are two answers. How about that? And the idea is factoring may or may not have worked. I'm really not sure. But quadratic formula definitely works. And if it's harder or not, it's dependent on you. But if you tried factoring and couldn't get anywhere, then you had wasted time, you know?
She asked me where's my checks have gone.
So it's cool. Let me do one more and then let you free to learn. We showed on this slide here. We want to set into ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0 form, also known as standard form. You see the a is in front, the b there, the c there. So that's the first step. Here we go. Let me maybe use blue, right? To make it seem more special, formula. Okay, so since Algebra 2, when I was like in junior year, I've always used, I know, right? Mr. Thomas was once a junior. It's crazy. Not really. But quadratic formula is x equals negative b plus or minus the square root
That's like on the video.
a b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Yes, I've always used that Pop Goes the Weasel song to help me remember, and it's worked since junior year when my Algebra 2 teacher, Mr. Chang, sang it. And
Mr. Who?
Chang.
Like P.F. Chang's.
Yeah.
Why you make it sound so racist?
I know, right? I know, right?
This baby does not look.
That's his name, Mr. Chang. Anyways, so this, if you plug in the b, from your equation, what's the b? Well, in your quadratic equation, it's this number in front of the x, right? You got your b here, another b here. You got your a here, which is this number. You got your c here, which is this number. And you got your a here. So honestly, yeah, if you plug all that into this formula, that might be hard to remember, or if you use that song like I did, and it's always helped
Can you
me.
write it somewhere in the classroom so we'll have
Yeah, I used to have a poster, and
Yeah,
then
why? And then you,
I had to make space for like my cooler
for your
posters.
no, don't touch.
Don't touch the cheese poster. You know what I mean? Maybe that's more important than knowing the quadratic formula. Knowing not to touch the cheese.
Is it?
Let's not even talk about the cheese. This quadratic formula, x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Let's break. So this example here, y'all, where we've been asked to use the quadratic formula to solve. So the w is what we're trying to find. What does w equal? What does w equal? So we're not using x, but don't let that, mess you up. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b plus ac all over 2a. So here's our a here. Here's our b, here's our c. It's already set up equal to 0 in standard form, as it's called. So let's plug in negative b. Well, b is negative 4, so negative of negative 14. Yes. Square root of b squared is 14 squared. 14 squared, 196. Minus whatever 4ac is, and I'm going to do that in the calculator instead of writing everything down. 4 times a, which is 8, times c, which is 5. I got 160, y'all. All over 2a. A is, what is a? 8? So 16 on the bottom. So let's keep going. 14 plus or minus.
Maggio, M-A-G-G-I.
Animals.
Yeah.
You see, I did the square root inside the square root.
Expensive.
And then I got 14.
Yeah. I'm hungry right now. I'm leaving at 11:30. And there's no point in coming back, so I'm not coming back.
Yeah, here's our two answers, yo. So a lot of busy work, but if you understand the idea of using the formula, plug it in, you got it. I would say keep your answers in fraction format. I don't know if it'll take decimal, but it's nice.
It has to be in circle.
Try to understand how there's two answers. Like I got it up to here, right? Try to understand why I made two answers from there, because plus 6 is one answer, and with the minus 6 is another answer. Plus or minus means two different things going on. Here's the two different things written separately. Perfect. Perfect. No, I'm not saying per. What the heck?